Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Robert's Rants. It seems a little self-indulgent to be ranting when the world is at war, when Russia has invaded Ukraine. But I think it's important for two reasons. The first is that Mr. Trudeau and Mr. Trump have distinguished themselves as different for the first time that I can recall. Mr. Trump, in his usual fashion, has doubled down. His praise of Putin continues, calling the invasion a smart move by Vladimir Putin. It is not a smart move. It is a bloody act of war, an insult to humanity. Mr. Trudeau has said the right things, condemning the act, condemning the invasion, and unequivocally saying that Canada sides with Ukraine. So props to Mr. Trudeau. However, that is as far as the differences go. They are both of the same opinion when it comes to NATO. I know many of you are thinking, why do I listen to this guy? He doesn't know what he's talking about. Trudeau and Trump are opposites on the topic of NATO. Well, they're not. In words, yes, Mr. Trudeau says the right things. Mr. Trump calls NATO an outdated organization, one that the United States has propped up too much, done more than their fair share. He wants to withdraw from NATO. Mr. Trump would like NATO to cease. Doesn't see the point to it. Mr. Trudeau, on the other hand, praises NATO, says it's so wonderful, we are committed to it. Couldn't be prouder to be part of NATO. But when it comes time to actually doing something to meet Canada's commitment to NATO, Mr. Trudeau again falls short. It's hard for many Canadians to remember, but Canada used to be a military power. I'm going to say that again. At the time of World War II, Canada had one of the strongest militaries in the world. Pierre Trudeau, the architect, started the decline of Canada's military. And Justin cannot take the full blame. Many prime ministers in between have not seen fit to reverse that decline. But Mr. Trudeau is now our leader, has been for 6 years. More importantly, when asked direct questions about Canada's commitment to NATO, he cannot give an answer. All NATO countries have committed as part of NATO membership to spend 2% of their GDP on defense military spending. Canada falls way short, 1.3%. When asked about this, again, Mr. Trudeau cannot answer. He'll declare a state of emergency when some truckers park on the streets in Ottawa. But when Russia invades Ukraine and NATO looks to Canada to say, what are you going to do about it? He throws up his hands and says, I don't know. That's not good enough, Mr. Trudeau. Canada deserves better. The world deserves better. The world is a dangerous place and platitudes will not save us. It's time to man up, step up, and if you can't, it's time to step down and let somebody else run the country. Canada and the world is at war. We need a war quality leader. Mr. Trudeau, you ain't it. Thanks for listening.